Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind Podcast, episode 178. You're in for a treat. This is a bit of a reset to press play. We're going to use this podcast to have a quick reflect on how the year's gone, what stopped us moving forward in the ways we wanted to, how we can use that to help us press play and make sure that 2025 is a good year. So it's not about the goal setting yet. We're not there. It's time to just look at what did happen. So let's jump on into episode 178. Hello, welcome to episode 178. Hilary from Property Mastermind. Solo episode today. We're talking reset to press play, and you can do this at any point in your life. It does not have to be just in November every year. You can do this February if you need to. You can do it March, April, May. You can do it on your birthday. You could do it you could actually do it weekly. It's a great time or a great way to reflect and see how things are going. And remember, I'm very much about looking at our human behavior, look at what makes us excel, what stops us, understanding us. The more you understand you, the easier it becomes for you to move forward. So let's start poking that wee bear and looking at the reflection of the year. How was your year? And if you want to use this at any time, you might think, how was your week? But we're going to use the year for the moment, but if you're listening anytime, how was your week? How was your month? How was your day? How was your year? How did it go? What went well? And it's really important that we stop and reflect on the things that go well, because those things give us confidence. Every time we have things that go in our favour, they make us feel a bit more courageous and our confidence grows, and we will keep doing that. They help us gain momentum. So really own what you did well, because we're such critical creatures. It's so easy for us to see what we did wrong instead of standing back and going, yeah, that's good. And I think part of that is, maybe the tall poppy syndrome, or that way Australians, Kiwis, we don't like to look like we're bragging. And maybe that's any culture really, but I know it's definitely rife. But maybe, the other people in our communities, all the other ethnicities that we have, and we have Bob always refers to Property Mastermind as the United Nations, but we have, I suppose I'm comparing us to Americans, and I'm nothing to all you Americans out there, I love you, but we tend to not celebrate how awesome we are. We forget to celebrate our awesomeness. So just spend that time to look back and say, you know what? Yeah, I did do that. A year ago, this time last year, I was able to say, holy moly, I wrote a book. And my other podcast is well over number 60 now. So I get to say those things and think, yeah, I did that well, and I've got things underway. And my goodness, I went and saw my property development just a couple of weeks ago over in Western Australia. Amazing to walk in there and think, wow, I did this. So proud of myself for, doing that and keeping it. We've got a couple of, another one went to auction and sold within 12 hours. One with the duplexes, the other one went on the market the other day, and there's more interest in that. I should celebrate that stuff a little bit more, but we don't. We just take that as, well, hey, that's what we do. We've got 2 huge industrial projects underway. How cool are they? And they will make a lot of our investors really, really great returns. And the investors in the duplex as well. Great returns for everyone. So it's such a win-win. And you know what? I did that. I was part of that. I didn't do the whole thing. But, I need to celebrate. Well, if I reflect on my year, all of those things are part of my year. So I want you to do that. Reflect on your year. And, this is a property podcast, so you could start thinking about property. If I was to reflect on the clients that I've worked with and the progress they've made, oh my gosh, that makes my heart sing. All of you that I've worked with that you've purchased a property, purchased a site this year, oh my goodness, so many. And how good does that feel? How good does that feel for you? So you listening, the listener, how was it? How was your year? What do you need to celebrate? What went well? What was meaningful? What connections did you make? What was the thing that worked for you this year? And then I want you to think, now, what didn't go as planned? What was that thing that didn't quite go how you thought it would? And, maybe you're a little bit disappointed, and maybe there were obstacles in your way. But look at that, because from that we can grow. And sometimes when we decide to see how we could have done something better, we then are able to see the obstacles in our way. And maybe what you're seeing right now is, damn, I actually didn't get into property development, or I didn't sell that, or I didn't get my taxes done in time, or whatever it is you didn't do. You might be having that wee moment of, I didn't do that. But when we have those moments of darn it, that didn't go as planned, it is the ideal opportunity for us to look at it and say, well, why? Why did I not do that? What stopped me? And be careful not to give it a reason, that was the reason, because we have to own our reasons. And there will never be a perfect time. There is never a perfect time to do anything. I spoke to somebody this week and he was so excited to be jumping on board with our mentoring program. And it was just a freak call that we ended up speaking to each other, but we'd spoken a while ago. And he's just like, oh my God, I'm so excited. But you know what? The opportunity arose and he jumped at it, because he said, I always put it off because I'm so busy and my work has, a lot of pressure, but it's something I really want to do. And I said, your work isn't going to change. You're always going to be so busy. I know that because, that's my excuse too. So it's just that if you didn't do something you wanted to do or it didn't go as planned, look at why. Don't use it as your excuse. Look at, okay, how can I change that so I don't do the same thing next year? Because we get caught in those wee habits and they become our normal. So that's probably a big one, which rolls into our next thing, which is, what did you learn from that? What did you learn from not doing the thing you wanted to do? What was it? Did you learn that you didn't get any more time come available to you? Did you learn that you shouldn't trust some people? Did you learn that this is your responsibility? What did you learn? And I'm not saying these in a negative way. I'm just asking you to reflect on that, because when you realize what you learn, and when we learn things in our tough times, we are able to, especially by ourselves, without other people offering an opinion, we're able to spend that time thinking, okay, I did learn that and I can take that learning and move forward with it. So we've gone through what went well, celebrate that, look at it and notice it, and then what didn't go so well, what did we not do that we are really a little bit disappointed about, and then we've gone through to the whole, what did you learn? What did you learn by that? So those are the first three. And next one is, how did you spend your time? Was your time spent heading toward the goals that you'd set for yourself? And if you're not a goal setter, the dreams that you have, or you may not be the sort of person that writes them down and sets them out as goals. I truly hope you do, because research tells us that does make it happen. It's way more likely when we get it out of our head and start working toward it. But we need to look at where you did spend your time. Was it working toward those goals, or was there wasted time? Because sometimes, when we say we couldn't and there were obstacles, it's because we didn't prioritise what was important to us. So, were you distracted, or did you stay focused? And probably to the things that went well, you were focused on. And that's a really important correlation for you to remember. When you're focused on something, you will have results. Where focus goes, energy flows. And the same goes with distractions, because distractions are simply our focus being taken away and going somewhere else. So we end up giving, where our focus goes to the distraction, energy flows to the distraction. Did you spend your time holidaying instead of doing and don't get me wrong, love a good holiday, just got back from one last week, but did you spend your time holidaying too much and not doing the thing that you want? Did you spend your time on social media or watching television at the end of the day because you're tired? And I get that, I fall into that trap too. Instead of doing the research and looking for properties, was it more like, oh, I can't be bothered? Did you spend that time just being distracted, or were you in a good place and moving toward the thing that you want to? The next one is, did you make progress? Did you make progress toward your dreams? Especially in property development, if it's on your mind, you have to stay focused, you have to work toward it, but it's really that but it's such a long game. Generally our property development's going to take us probably about 18 months. So did you find one? And that's probably the time consuming part, but did you stay focused toward your dreams? It's setting yourself up, being ready with finance, which is going to mean, getting your taxes done, or setting yourself up with getting structures organized. Are you still thinking about it, thinking about doing property? Or did you start taking actions? So taking actions will give you that momentum toward achieving what you want. Because when we start taking those steps toward our dreams, when we choose to take that first step, that is that start of the activation energy. And for those of you who listen to my podcast, Bounce Back Better, where it's all about motivation and things that help us move forward in life to achieve the things that we want to achieve. Activation energy was my podcast that goes out actually this week as well. And it's the energy required to do that first thing. If you think of like a train, when it starts to get started, it's like that slow like it's a slow movement, and it gains momentum before long, and then a train, zooms along quite well. So do you have enough activation energy to get you moving to where you want to go? Are you, working toward having activation energy, or do you not have any, so you're not starting the thing that you want to start? And remember, this applies to everything. It applies to your health. It applies to your financial situation, your body. It applies to the property development that you want to do, your level of education. Anything you want has to start off with activation energy. It's that first thing, and it's often the hardest. So if you are just constantly thinking about property development but not taking action and not taking steps toward it, then you are lacking the activation energy, and all you need to do is something. And that Mel Robbins' tool, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, is fabulous. So I want you to think about what it is that you want to do. Is it to do property development? Have you been thinking about this for ages and you're like, oh my goodness, I just so want to do it? And I've had a few mentoring students join us recently, and they've been around for a while in our community, and so good to finally see you jump on board. And when they do, I always say, I'm about blooming time, because I've seen them sit around the edges for, 2 or 3 years coming along to workshops, and I know that they just need us to, hold their hand the whole way. And I don't know what it is that finally gave them that activation energy, because, they were wanting to do development and they were coming along, but not everyone can do it without having that support behind them. So I can't wait to find out what their activation energy finally was. Or was it just a timing thing? Or is it now that the market's so good and there are so many people now getting deals, and you hear us talking about it, and on our socials or in our live Q&A or wherever you follow us, you see and hear that we've got so many people doing amazing things, and even us, what we've got going on ourselves, it's proving it. So was that the inspiration that got that activation energy going, that start that made them, send that email, make that phone call, Hilary, can I jump on board now? Who knows? But if you're lacking activation energy to get started on property development, you've been sitting around for too long and it's all about peripherals, then just do Mel Robbins, as in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then take an action. Whatever it is, Google, get online and look at realestate.com. Just take an action. Book a call with me. I don't care what you do, but take an action. Decide you're going to get your taxes up to date. Find out how much money you can borrow. All of that sort of stuff. Research a patch. Just start taking actions, because, like the train, once you get started, and it's just one small thing at a time, that energy that comes from that, you will gain momentum. And before long, the aggregation of marginal gains by doing something consistently, that's taking another action and another action and another action, you will get there. Because the problem is right now, if you're not doing what you want to be doing in any realm, but right now in property development, you're looking at the end result and it's too big. You're looking at what you want to achieve. I want to make that. I want a 4-pack. I want a duplex. Whatever it is that you want. I want a rooming house. Whatever that thing is that you want, you look at that. And you're sitting in your chair right now thinking, crikey, how on earth do I even do that? The activation energy required from the result that you want and where you're sitting right now is way too big. So you need to pull it right back and think, just ask yourself, what's the first thing I need to do? What do I need to do? And do something small, because once you've done that small thing, like I said, you do it again and again and again, and it just gets easier and easier, and you gain more and more momentum, and before long you're like a locomotive, a train that's unstoppable. I love that song. I'm unstoppable. It is so my song. The next thing that's great to reflect on, and use to empower yourself to step into next year, which we're talking about now, but say you're listening to this at another time, that's to step into next week, to step in tomorrow, to step into anywhere, is look at your strengths. What are you good at? And you will instantly know. Some of you will go, I'm not really good at anything, but most of you know there are things that you're great at. Are you great at organising? Are you great at spreadsheets? Are you great at all of that detail that's required for property development? Is that you? Are you great at organising a team of people and bringing them together and project managing something and being the developer? Are you great at just getting that team to work together? Are you great at communicating with people? Are you great at, making sure that there's going to be an end result and you can talk to all of the people that you need to, and people want to come on board and be around you and be with you and follow you? Are you that person? Or are you the person who's just the organizer, the results person, the go-getter? You will have skills that are strengths of yours, and I want you to recognize what they are and think, how can I maximize these for next year? How can I maximize these so I can move myself forward faster? Because you've got them, and I know right now that as I'm saying that, you're probably thinking through your skills, and then you're thinking, I don't really maximize on those. And do you? Are you maximizing on your natural attributes to get you further forward in life? Are you? And if you're not, well, then just be a little bit more aware of what they are and ask yourself, how can I move forward, get the results I am after by maximizing the strengths that I was born with or that I have grown? And then after you've done that, and only after, not before, then look at the ones that probably need enhancing. There are probably a few skills that you don't have that you do need enhancing. And it's not all of them. Nobody needs to be perfect. But just have a look at how could you be a bit better? What's that thing that you are lacking, that you need to get the result that you want? So let's think, we're moving into next year. What attribute, what skill, what is the thing that you would love to have that would make a huge difference to you? Is it the ability to be able to throw together a spreadsheet, a feasibility? Is it the ability to just know how to work a blooming council website? What is it that's quite small that you think, wow, that would actually make the biggest difference? And sometimes there might be 2 or 3 or 4, but if you start with one, and think, you know what, I'm going to work on that. What is that thing that you could work on that would make the biggest difference to your success? And if it's mindset, if it's a negative space, if it's a constant of you talking yourself out of things, then have another conversation with yourself, my friends. Have a conversation with yourself around, how do I elevate my mindset? On the 17th of this month, I'm doing a mindset session. It's free. You're welcome to jump on that. It's at a lunchtime. It's a 45-minute session. Jump on that. I will be giving away tips and strategies. It's such a cliche thing to say. But I will be giving you tools that you can use that will help you live in a more elevated mindset way. Because trust me, life is always going to be a poo sandwich at some points of time, and nobody loves to be around Pollyanna. She's really annoying. The person is constantly fake and skipping around. But we need to have a mindset from the inside that's driving us on the outside. So it's not, sometimes the people that are faking a happiness, you can feel it because it's coming from the outside. So the mindset comes from within, and it determines your thoughts, it determines your actions. If you honestly feel like something, then that's going to make you behave, act in a certain way, and your actions determine your results, and that's not rocket science. So we need to look at the way you see things. Do you wake up in the morning and have to give yourself a bit of a, hey, come on, let's get positive about this, or let's make sure that we're thinking in a way that's going to move me forward? And we all have ho-hum down days, and that's okay, or even just down hours, that's okay. But the trick is to not let them become a way of life. And you will know people that have let that happen. So learn to optimize your mindset. I strongly advise podcasts like this one, my one, Bounce Back Better. I strongly advise audiobooks that are all around just elevating you. And if you don't like doing stuff like that, just do it for 15 minutes a day. Do it for 10 minutes a day. Just put something in you like that you hear, that you listen to, that you read. So, put it inside you to remind you to elevate your mindset, because the people that are the happiest have positive mindsets. They have growth mindset. A growth mindset is, I don't know how to do that yet, not I don't know how to do that. If you have a growth mindset, it's just, I don't know how to do that yet, meaning I can learn and I can do. So I want you to think about how, look into yourself, check what your mindset is like, and really work on choosing to make it a mindset that's going to get you to where you want to go. So that's my wrap up really for the end of this year. I want you to think about it over the next month or so. Think about how you went. Think about what you did well. What didn't quite go like you thought. What you learned. All the things that we've covered in this, that I've covered, we've covered. Bob's not here today. All the things I've covered just in this short podcast, and think, you know what? How can I get to where I want to go? And you've reflected now, so you know the answers. Maybe write them down. Because when you think it, you should ink it. And that's not mine, but it's such a goodie. When you think it, you should ink it. Because often you might be driving, you might be at the gym, you might be doing something, you hear something great. You think, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to remember that. And I know that you don't, because none of us do. So if you think it, you should ink it. I want you to write down what you've just got out of this podcast today, and think to yourself, okay, I'm going to elevate my mindset. I'm going to do all the stuff that helps me move forward so I can have the success that I want, whether that's, a huge property portfolio or just doing your first property development, so I can have that happiness that I want, so I can have the relationships that I want, so I can have the health that I want, whatever it is that you want. This reflection is the perfect place for you to begin. So that's the end of the podcast this week. I hope you've got a few nuggets, and I hope you work on moving forward by using the activation energy. I hope you move forward by recognizing your strengths and choosing to maximize them. And I also hope you move forward by choosing something you will improve on, whether that be even just signing up with us or checking out what we've got to offer course-wise, or I don't know, just listening to more podcasts. But anyway, whatever it is that you want, it's been done before, and there's no reason you can't have it. You're in for a treat. We've done a few podcasts ahead of time, and there's just a couple coming up that are fabulous. So I'll look forward to seeing you when I see you next. We've got a new website, so jump on there and have a look. Our next workshop's May. There's so much going on. I'm so excited for so many people in the property development space, and I can't wait to see all of your success. So for some of you, I'll see you on the 17th. Otherwise, I'll catch you next week on the podcast. Bye for now.